It is our pleasure to be joined by a six-time national championship winning head coach. She's the greatest softball coach of all time. Patty Gasso is in the house. Coach, how we doing?
I'm good, good. Ready to start this next adventure.
Well, you guys are off to a good start. Wrapping up the Big 12 championship. I know that's always got to be goal number one, right? Win the conference, and then you just start plugging on after that.
Yeah, it's kind of a trip, really. So we play 18 games. We went 18-0. That's really, really difficult to do. And you get like a handshake, like good job. And I'm like, wait a minute, where's all the confetti and the hats and the streamers and everything? No, you get all that when you go to the tournament. We get a bye. We're in the semifinal. We played two games, and we got a lot of publicity over that. I'm like, wow, this works backwards, but whatever, we'll take it. So it was fun for them to get kind of the fanfare, because after we outright won the Big 12, it's like nobody cared. I'm like, okay. So we played well this last weekend, and we're excited about being back at home in our stadium. I'm sure it's going to sell out. It's a very hostile yet fun environment for other teams coming in, but its momentum is so much on our side. It's really helpful. So the teams that are coming in are going to be tough. And we're looking forward to it because it's going to prepare you as you go on. So tough games.
Obviously, you guys are the number one overall seed, coach. When you look at the draw, and you've been pretty outspoken about this stuff in the past, right? Looking at your draw and how you feel about it. How you feeling about the teams coming to Norman for the regional?
Well, they're good. They're good. And you can look at the record, you could, but when we put out this like heat chart on where teams stand offensively, defensively, and we've got our work cut out for us. Cal Berkeley has a history of being a postseason and World Series style team, as has Missouri. Both programs have history at the College World Series. We've played them both at the College World Series. Hofstra, I don't know too much about, and they've had an okay season. They just don't play the same level of teams that we play, but Cal Berkeley's in the Pac-12. They're beating UCLA. They're beating big teams. Maybe not sweeping them, but they're taking one of three games. And same with Missouri. They're tested. They're battle tested. So I saw those two names pop up. I'm like, oh, wow. And others are like, oh, Oklahoma, you got it. Oh, don't worry, you got it. Like, you don't even know. You don't know what I know or what I'm feeling. And that is, this is not going to be easy. It isn't. That's never easy. But these are two teams that know how to play in postseason.
How about the rest of the country? It seems like there was a couple of different selections that got people riled up, I guess you could say, Alabama being maybe the main one. What do you think about the whole process and how they've done it over the last couple of years?
I thought last year was the best I had seen. The most fair, seemed even, level, fair across the board. I'm baffled, like everybody else, on this one. I really am. And looking at, again, Alabama, I think Oklahoma State had some good early wins, but when you you lose 13 of your last 15, I am kind of mind boggled by that. But they keep pressing the hole against the top 10. It's one thing when you beat a top 10 team in February. It's a difference when you beat them in April. And a lot of teams did a lot of their work early in February and then just kind of leveled off. And I think Alabama might be that kind of team as well. I feel for Stanford. If you look at their resume, you would go, what in the world are we doing? They're good. They're a good team that had the #1 strength of schedule. I think they're in the top 5 in RPI. I mean, everything warranted itself for them to be a top 8 team. So I was purely perplexed by some of this, but it's not uncommon until we concede the top 32. And I want to see what it looks like. What are you looking at? What are the criteria that you're looking at? Doesn't make sense. Some of it just doesn't make sense.
In your opinion, what would a better system look like? Because I feel like you're not the only coach that wants a little more transparency when it comes to how this all is working. You're kind of the face of the sport, coach, and you don't know exactly how it works. So what are we doing here? Why don't we have a more transparent system in college softball when it comes to the selection stuff?
There are so many, technology is so big, right? I know you could go into the AI system and probably give a bunch of names of schools, and they could pop it out to you exactly the way it needs to look. RPI and things that they're looking at, there is more detailed analytics out there and numbers that can give us a better spray chart of a team. But RPI and some of those things are geared towards all different sports. I think softball and baseball should have their own, we're made differently. Sports are made differently. And what's important, and strength of schedule, and when you're winning and how you're winning. Are you winning on the road as well? And I don't know. I don't know that we take enough into consideration, but I would like to see 32 teams seeded so we can understand what is going on here, and then eventually try to show us how you seeded the entire field of 64. But there's too many unanswered questions, and it's hitting Twitter world like crazy, I guess. So I just there's nothing I can do about it except worry about our team. That's what I have to stay focused on.
Yeah, it's interesting, like you said, you're the #1 overall seed, and everyone just assumes that it's going to be the easiest thing ever. Like it's a formality. Do you get the sense sometimes that almost the better you are, the more difficult it becomes? Like just with the pressure and the assumptions of what your team is and isn't?
Absolutely. It's a whole nother level of stress, and players get a little anxious about it as well. It's almost a given that people believe every game we play, we should be winning. And so it's really important for me to keep the team together, and that we talk about it amongst ourselves and keep the outside from getting in, perpetuating into their heads by looking at social media, reading the comments, things like that can really get in the way. But everybody expects us to win every game that we play. And it's just, you don't want to disappoint, but reality, we're human. We're human. We will make mistakes. And we're very fortunate to have the record that we have. Now everyone's talking about breaking this winning streak record, and I could care less. I don't care about it. It's not even talked about in our locker rooms, not talked about by me. That's not what we're playing for. We're playing to win. We're playing for a national championship. Records are made to be broken, but there's always something that's constantly hanging over us, and we've just somewhat learned to live with it.
I've got a feeling that it's a little easier when you have as balanced of a team as you have, and with as many experienced players as you've got. When you look at this team, coach, do you feel this is the most balanced team you've had at Oklahoma?
I feel really good about that. Absolutely. I feel I could pull anybody out of the lineup and insert anyone into the lineup, and we wouldn't be missing much of anything. I've got a pitching staff that could be all aces on any staff. I've got a defense that is so athletic and so determined to make big time plays look easy. And I've got an offense 1 through 9 that I think they're all hitting, 350 or above. And we don't strike out a lot. We do walk a lot. We have a good number of stolen bases. So I just think top to bottom, we're just balanced. And my bench, a lot of these athletes could be starting on top 10 teams. So trying to keep them integrated, happy, getting some playing time. But I could put any lineup on the field and feel very confident.
Yeah, I think it's interesting with like Jordy Ball, ace pitcher, but also great at other things. And we've seen her out there running the bases. She's excellent on the base paths. Is that something where if you didn't have the pitching that you have, would you feel comfortable letting her be out there on the base pass where, I don't know, you get a hand stomped on sliding into third or something like that? Is that, do you ever factor that in?
I don't. I've never been that kind of coach where I'm trying to really protect players, because Jordy has so much to give to us. We've taken her out of the offense some, but she can swing and she can run. She's the quickest runner on our team. So there are ways that I can insert her in the game when she's pitching. If I put her in the 10 spot, I can bring her in for the DP over and over and over and over again, because I never actually take her out of the game. And that is a big, big advantage. And she loves to run. She's good at it. She's smart at it. So I don't think, oh gosh, I'm afraid, because I don't know. I've never coached like that. Like, oh, I don't want to do that. I got to protect her. If I can get a pitcher who can hit, I'm going for it, because that's such a huge advantage. So Jordy would be upset if I treated her that way as well. So no, she's all in.
So looking at the roster, Coach, what player, and maybe it's multiple, but what player has kind of exceeded your expectations the most this season? Maybe surprised you the most. Maybe that's the best way to put it.
Yeah. I have so many returners. So I think Riley Boone is just really having one of her best seasons. So I'm really proud of her and excited. What she's doing in the 9-hole is big for us. Jada is just that level. Everybody pretty much returning has really lived up to their billing. They're playing really well. I think Sid Sanders came to us from Arizona State, and it was a different kind of run programs. Coming to ours, a little bit different for her. She was okay on defense. I thought that was one of her weaknesses that made me a little uncomfortable. She worked really hard. She's become a really good first baseman, and I'm really proud of that. And now her hitting's starting to come along. Haley Lee, I always knew was going to be a big time hitter. Alex Storako has really added to our staff. I think Nicole May is someone I'm really proud of. She doesn't get a lot of attention, and she doesn't have big personality and really emotional, but she handles her craft like a professional. She comes out early, stretches on her own, pitches on her own, takes care of her body. She does everything right. But this is the best season she's had. And she just doesn't get a lot of fanfare, but she doesn't want it. But she is someone that people need to talk a little more about that really don't.
Right. That's who I was going to ask you about, like how impressive it's been. I think she's got the best ERA on the team. Whenever you've got Jordy, you've got, you brought in, like you mentioned, Stracco. Like, what's that dynamic like? Have you ever had a team that's had this many pitchers that can be an ace? And like, how does that, I know it works out for the better for everyone, but just that dynamic's got to be a little bit unique.
It is. I've had pitchers that have been that could all be aces, but they weren't pitching like it. All right. So somebody would be struggling and the other would step up. These guys have been steady through the whole season. They I think they like the fact that they don't have to throw 200 innings in a season, because it really can ruin them. And they know it because they did it in travel ball. And so when they've been here, they've been sharing a weekend where everybody Alex, Jordy, and May would all start one of those games over the weekend or finish for each other. They're a tight-knit group. It's really cool. Jen Roach has done a great job of creating a team within a team, and they root for each other. They talk pitching. They talk the opponent. They get along really, really well, and it's really great to see them root for each other. I know they want the ball more, but we also are run ruling. I think we've run ruled almost half of the games that we played. We put it to numbers, it was about 50 innings, 50 plus innings that we've lost a play because we're run ruling. That's a lot of innings for those guys to be able to pitch that they're missing out on. So they understand the dynamic of the team, and they're all in it to win it.
Looking at your process, Coach, I know you always point the attention on your players, right? You've always done that, but you guys are at the height of the sport. You're back-to-back champs. How do you go about improving as a coach? Like, because I think it'd be easy when you guys are as dominant as you are to get complacent and not continue to evolve as a coach. Like, how do you fight against that and continue to push yourself to, be the best coach you can be, and not just say, hey, this is how we do it. This is how we've always done it.
As I get older and the players get younger, I started to feel a little bit distant, and it's important for me to continue to have relationships with players. So I did something in the last couple of years, a little bit new, where I would just take each one out individually for a lunch or a breakfast and just let them get to know me, ask me questions. I would ask them questions, nothing to do with softball. But I just wanted them to know I'm someone they can talk to, not to feel intimidated or afraid or what have you. So it's a very comfortable environment for me. I enjoy being around them, and I think they feel the same. My coaching staff has done a great job with analytics and things, and really keeping me up to date with those kinds of things, because they are very prevalent and relevant going forward. So I've learned to be able to take in some of that knowledge, but I also want to continue to use my gut feeling and not. That's why I get frustrated. I love the Dodgers, but I would get frustrated that they would take a pitcher out because analytics say so. And this guy could be hot and they take him out, and then the next pitcher comes in and doesn't have success. And I'm like, drives me crazy. So I know I have to keep my instincts in the game. And it's kind of hard when you have the numbers in front of you that tell you what to do. So I'm trying to know how to manage that a little bit as well. So a lot of new things have come at me, and if I don't change, I'm behind. I'm not able to lead, because why would they want to follow me if I'm just not working hard or trying to connect with them? And so there's a good trust between all of us right now.
The connection thing is interesting, and because I see it really, it's kind of played out in most sports now. Like, my experience as a football player at OU is like, there wasn't a whole lot of connection between the coaches and players. I mean, there was, but it's just different. What was it like for you as a player? I guess I'm asking because is this something new, like over the whole experience that you've had to try and learn, or was that how it was whenever you were a player?
Oh no, when I was a player, I wouldn't even look at the coach in the eye. I was so intimidated by I wouldn't even look at him in the eye. Just put my head down and did my job. There was no real friendship or connection, or I certainly didn't feel like I would contact them after I graduated much, things like that.
Coach asked you for a one-on-one meeting, you're getting cut, right?
Yeah. It was always something that your stomach just got sick, like, oh gosh, what did I do, or what the unexpected. And I don't want players to think that way about me. I want them to feel like they could talk to me and we could laugh together. I like to joke with them some. As I get older, though, there still is a little bit further disconnect because they just don't understand my kind of music and I don't understand theirs very well, those kinds of things, and the way you dress and so forth. But they have fun trying to teach me things, and uh, I just go along with it, even though I look like a fool. It's just a way for me to connect to these guys, and that's really important. It is, so that they buy in to me and really see me as a human versus some kind of authoritative figure. I don't want that.
Yeah, I think that's a smart approach, Coach. And clearly, whatever you're doing is working well. Whatever you're doing is working well. Now, and I know you're focused on winning the regional and moving on to supers and all that. Has it set in that you're about to play your last couple games at Marita Hines Field?
Oh, um, I think I'm going to have some emotion, and I don't even, I'm not feeling it yet. I know it's coming. I know Marita Hines is going to be at the super regional. I don't know if it's going to be made a big deal, but my entire coaching life here at OU has been there. 29 years on that. Well, 2 over at Reeves Park and 27 at Marita Hines Field. It's a lot of memories. A lot of my coaching life has been there. So it's bittersweet, but man, all you got to do is drive down Jenkins and see some of the framing that's happening now at the new stadium. It's really, really exciting. So it's really kind of the changing of the guard, and just such an honor to have this opportunity from the family that you're in and many others who have believed in our sport and who we are. And I'll tell you what, we're so excited to represent Oklahoma in that Love Stadium while we're in the Big 12 last season and then entering into the SEC. It is going to be fun, and I think there's going to be a lot of fans. I think there's still going to be sellouts every game. I guess tickets are coming on sale soon, and people are calling me trying to get an in. I'm like, I don't know how to help you. That is not my, I can't help you. So it's to see it happening for our sports, just really tremendous, because I've been here so long and I've seen when I first started over at Reeves Park, we might have had 50 people in attendance and they were parents. So we've come a long way.
It is crazy, and I find myself watching softball on ESPN, not even when Oklahoma's playing. I'm watching SEC games, and it's turned into something really special. I guess, what was your expectation when you took this job? Like, what was, like, in your opinion, if you think back to it, like, what was the ceiling? Like, what was your hopes of what it could become, and maybe that compared to where it is now? Does that make sense?
Yeah, I came here from a junior college out in California. I always wanted a D1 job. I wanted to stay in California. They would not hire a junior college coach to be a D1 softball coach. I came out to Oklahoma to watch the World Series, and I had a dream just like a player would. Man, one day I hope to be on that field. And as a junior college coach, I was looking at, like, wow, what would it be like if one day I could be on that field coaching? And, I just believe my faith is strong. I believe the Lord led me here. My expectation coming in was to win. But when I saw where we were playing and half the team revolted and left. I had to try to find new players and create something very quickly. And I guess I've just always had a good work ethic as a coach, and a belief in players and belief in the system of hard work and blue collar, which is kind of how I grew up. And it wasn't easy, but we found success pretty quickly, and the rest just kind of took off.
What a humble answer. Gosh, you are the best. But okay, there's been a couple of hot button topics for Oklahoma softball. The future of Bedlam, we can talk about that if you want to, but can the softball field, can it fit in the football stadium or not? I'm confused. Does it fit or not? Like, have you gone out there and measured yourself, coach? Like,
No,
does it fit or?
I have not. Look, let me just tell you how I put my foot in my mouth. It was senior day, emotions were high, and I'm thanking the fans and they're cheering. And it just came out that Nebraska volleyball was putting a volleyball court on their football stadium. I'm like, hey, let's do this. I'm just like, I had talked to Joe Castiglione, nothing, never had any conversation to anybody about it. I just put it out in the universe, which I shouldn't have done. I got a call from Joe. First thing, before he even opened his mouth, I apologized. And he said, if there is a way that this could work, we would do it. And I don't know if there's some kind of construction that might be happening at the state football stadium, but if there is a way, they're gonna find a way to do it, because Joe is the mover and the shaker. He likes to be the first at things. He likes to be the trendsetter. I believe we could. I don't know if we could fill that stadium, but wow!
Oh,
and
I know you could.
Oh, there's not a doubt.
Okay,
No
so
question.
as soon as I put that in the universe, now coaches don't want to talk to me. I don't have a lot of coaching friends, but they're sending me texts. Hey, if you guys do that, call me, call us. We'd be interested. Now I got a bunch of friends who want to play in front of 80,000 people. So then now I'm getting emails from architects who are showing me what the drawings could look like and what you would have to do to fit it in. It's created a mess, but it's not dead. It still has legs, and people are still talking about it. The Baylor coach is like, hey, please, if you're doing this, it's us. Pick us. We'll pay you to come. I'm like, oh my God, this is crazy. But wow, would that be something? That would be a whole nother level of wow.
So you said that you don't have a lot of friends in the coaching world. Are they intimidated, or is that on your, what's the story there?
I don't know. I don't know if I'm a female. I get judged. When I'm on the field, I'm a competitor. So I'm just into it. I'm into it. And maybe I have a look that you might think I'm not a nice person or something. When I go out recruiting, I sit alone because everyone's afraid to come up and have a conversation, or because we win so much, people think that we cheat, and they create stories, and there's so unbelievable, ridiculous accusations about our program and how we get players off the portal, and our players are taking illegal substances, and that's why we're so strong. And it's gone out there and it's come back to me, and it is such a joke, and it's an embarrassment for our it's an embarrassment for our sport, because to me, if I love athletics, I want to see greatness over and over and over and over again. If OU football wins every year, I'm going to be there every year. And if they're not, I'm going to be there every year. But I love to see excellence in any sport. And people believe we can't reach excellence without cheating. and I'm waiting for someone to take the receipts forward, and nobody has any. So there's I don't know, it's like that. It's weird like that. And I really don't care because I know what it means. If you can't be us or you can't beat us, I guess you don't like us. So I've learned to live with it.
Well, one of my highlights of the season, I was at the regular season game at Hall of Fame Stadium when you guys played Texas. And that was right after Mike White said all that stuff.
Yeah.
And the fan base, and I was booing him as loud as we could. Anytime he showed his face, it was one of my favorite moments of 2023, Coach. I don't know if you enjoyed it as much as I did, but I was having a hell of a time.
Well, I'm glad I didn't enjoy it, but the fans were doing it again on Saturday. So I don't know that he's going to be able to shake this until people might forget. But I don't, that's the kind of stuff I'm talking about. You don't take it personal. I just go about my business.
Well, I'm sure well, if they make it to the World Series, they'll be there every single game, whether he's playing OU or not, which, that's it. It's that time of the year. The circus is about to start. Is this the part of the year that you wait for, or is there a little bit of, because of all of the attention? Just how do you feel about this time of year?
I love it, and our players love it even more. They went 50-1, or whatever our record is, and they're like, okay, God, oof, all right, that's over with. Now let's go. Now let's get to the nitty gritty. Now let's get to the fun stuff. That's how they look at it, and they always play their best during this time of the season.
Coach, we've taken up way too much of your time. I know you're really busy right now, but you're the best. We'll be out there. I'm going to drag Teddy with me.
I'm going.
I appreciate it. And maybe just don't tell a lot of people I don't have friends. And just tell them I want to be a little more popular.
Well, I consider us friends. Like, we're your friends.
I know.
You can always hit us up. Unfortunately, a few people do listen to this podcast, so they're going to hear you talk about it. But it's fine. It's fine.
Hey, if the other coaches don't want to talk to you, just go make it really awkward. You just go
sit right next to him.
Yeah, sit next to him, kill him with kindness.
No. I want to be alone. I just bet it's easier. I just want to have my iced tea, sit with my book, and do my job. That's it.
You're the best. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it. We'll see you out there.